Hello, good evening. Welcome to State of Affairs. My name is Nana Abanamwa. Tonight we're discussing the early retirement, if we should put it so, of the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Wampah. We'll be discussing what his tenure has been. Was he the most competent governor of the Bank of Ghana? Or as some people have been saying, especially from the NPP, that he's the most incompetent we've had around. Also, we'll be talking about the EC and the impending suit against them. Well, tonight we'll be looking at that in detail with Sam George, who is the NDC parliamentary candidate for the Ningo Pram constituency, and also Alexander Apenyo Marking, who is member of parliament for the Efutu constituency. In the meantime, we'll take a look at some stories. Right, the Birim River continues to suffer from pollution due to activities of illegal miners at Chebi in the eastern region. Additionally, more than 100 acres of land have been destroyed by their activities. Joseph Armstrong Gold Alugbe was in Chebi and filed this report.
It's 1 p.m. at Chebi in the eastern region. These men were engaged in illegal mining activities, popularly known as galamsey. They took to their heels when they saw us, obviously for fear of being arrested. It was therefore difficult getting them to talk. Most of them were foreigners.
Niger, Mali, Burkina, every Niger.
The local miners who are also into galamsey want their foreign counterparts repatriated. The activity of the illegal miners is not only destroying farmlands for the natives of Chebi, but also the only river, Birim, that they depend on for drinking, cooking and washing. Although they agree their activity is affecting society, they say the lack of jobs has left them with no other option.
And if you recollect, 3 weeks ago, the State of Affairs team reported that every playing item at the Dansoman Children's Park here in Accra had become a death trap. In a follow-up to the story, Joseph Alugbe visited the playground again and reports that the only attempt that has been made to improve the situation is the planting of painting, of some wooden benches on the park.
We were hinted that authorities had visited the Dansoman Children's Park after our reportage and that some renovation had taken place. We therefore took to visit the site. From afar, it seemed so, but a closer look revealed that very little had been done. The only change here is the painting of these benches. The assemblyman for the area, Ibrahim Bako, clarified that the painting was carried out by a non-governmental organization.
There are schools built, the millennium schools, we have the Chinese schools all built around, which the children don't have any place to play, unless here. And when it rained, here looked like a swimming pool, which I'm still pleading to the authorities to come to our aid. The swings are all sports, so children get hurt. I've been receiving lots of complaints. It's not even necessary. To me, I told them even the painting is not necessary, but you see, they are NGO who live in a community.
The Dansoman Children's Park is the only recreational facility for children in and around Dansoman. The facility still remains a death trap. Events are occasionally held here, though the shimmering beauty of an actual fun park got lost several years ago. The children are aware of the sorry state of the park.
I wouldn't advise any child to come and play here again because some are rust and it can cause harm to the children also. Yeah.
Aside the trees that blow some fresh air here, nothing else at the children's park makes recreational sense. Even in an election year, when projects are fast-tracked, the electorate in this community are pretty much certain that the shameful-looking playground would not catch the eye of any politician. Even the football park is a painful story to tell, reflecting the pathetic state of the children's park. Some children can be assured of access to private facilities who charge cutthroat fees, But majority of Ghanaian children whose parents continue to feel the pinch of economic hardships will have to either rely on these death traps or just be denied the United Nations right for a child to play.
That was a report by Joseph Armstrong Alugbe. We move on to other stories, and mathematical sets branded with the images of President Mahama and the NDC parliamentary candidate for Isuojamai, Thomas Ampem-Nyako, are being distributed to schools at Isuojamai in the eastern region. The educational materials are targeted at final year students of the various senior high schools in the area. You see pictures of them very soon. Thomas Ampem-Nyako, who also doubles as the DCE for Isuojamai, began the donation of exercise on Tuesday, March 29, when he and other education officials in the district visited 5 senior high schools. The students were also given pens, rulers and other educational materials. The NDC candidate warned the students to desist from examination malpractices. Well, so if you have seen any of such, would like to see pictures of those, it could be anything else apart from mathematical sets. We'd like to see. Remember, the hashtag to use is State of Affairs across all social media platforms. In other news, all narcotic charges against British fugitive David McDermott have been dropped by the state. The state today filed a nolle prosequi stating that it was disinterested in the case and would now focus on his extradition case pending at the High Court. The 42-year-old, who's also a son-in-law to the retiring Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Henry Wampah, fled the UK to Ghana following a drug-related offense. McDermott from Liverpool, in collaboration between British and Spanish authorities British and Spanish police authorities tracked down the gentleman, also wanted in those countries, and was arrested sometime a week ago. The operation involved officers from the National Crime Agency of the UK and the BNI on Friday, March 11 in Accra. A youth activist of the opposition NPP in the Bono-Ahafo region, Kwame Bafo, has sued the EC seeking an injunction on the impending limited registration exercise. Kwame Bafo argues that the voters' register in its current state is flawed and not fit for the conduct of the 2016 general elections. He's thus praying the court to compel the EC to cancel the limited registration exercise, which has been slated for the 18th and 26th of April 2016. According to the NPP youth activists, the proposed limited registration and all related arrangements by the EC will constitute sheer waste of the taxpayers' money. The NPP and some pro-opposition groups, including the Let My Vote Count Alliance, have demanded the compilation of a new voters' register for the 2016 general elections. We'll come back in a tad to talk about the EC and the limited voter registration exercise, and also Dr. Wampah retiring. Do stay with us.
Former President J.J. Rawlings, and you're watching State of Affairs on GH1.
All right, welcome back to the show. This is State of Affairs live on GH1 TV and is also streaming on gh1tv.com. And the hashtag to use if you're watching and want to contribute to tonight's discussion is State of Affairs. We'll be happy to read it with the rest of the country and beyond. Of course, we are discussing Dr. Wampah's exit from the Bank of Ghana, and it was reported by the Reuters yesterday. Joining us on the phone is John Gachi, who is a chartered economist. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Gachi. I mean, when you heard about Dr. Wampah's exit from the World Bank, from the Bank of Ghana, as he had indicated to the Reuters press yesterday, what was your initial reaction?
Well, because it was not a surprising news, I didn't panic in any way. And I was also not expecting that the financial market in general will react in any negative manner nor was I expecting that it will harm the economy in any way. The only thing that I considered was that Dr. Wampah, by personal assessment in a very mature manner, has decided to take this decision, and he did that in consultation with the key stakeholders within the sector that he operates. He did that by informing the president and the government prior to that public announcement. And for that matter, I was not expecting that it was going to harm the financial sector and the economy in any way.
Okay, I'll come to the financial sector in a bit, but I want to run you through some of the narratives that we've heard since morning as the discussion started. Some say that he was too subservient. Others have described him as the most incompetent governor this country has ever had. How would you describe his 4 years at the helm of affairs at the central bank?
Well, I would describe him as a strong figure that came into the bank at a time where he came to meet very difficult situations, some of which are beyond his control because they have international dimension, and some of which are as a result of fiscal management and not the sphere of monetary policy management, some of which are directly to be blamed at his doorstep, especially when you come to the microfinance disappointment. Those are the areas that you cannot share that responsibility with any other institution, but we were expecting very proactive engagement by the Bank of Ghana with the microfinance sector to ensure protection for our protection for the clients of microfinance institutions, but that didn't happen the way we all expected. So it is not everything that you can blame on Dr. Wampah. For example, if you say that we have seen market depreciation of the currency under him, by the time he's exiting, at least we are experiencing some stability over a period of 5 months. At the time that he's...
But still at a very high rate, I must add.
Yes, but it was dropping from a certain level. What the Ghanaian financial sector and businesses want is predictability of the currency. So even though 3.8 to 4 cedis to the dollar is high, but if we can predict its stability over a certain period of time, that is good. But if you look at supply of foreign currency flowing from export of our major commodities, Dr. Wampah doesn't control the volatility of price in international markets. Dr. Wampah doesn't actually plan as to how much to be spent on the provision of water across the country. It doesn't spend on road construction, etc. So the fiscal management, which also have a very close relationship with monetary policy management, is clearly under a different control and not under the control of the Bank of Ghana. So we need to look at the issues that are closely under him and the things that he's sharing with other entities.
Okay, but for those that fall directly under or in his purview, would you say that he handled them as a very competent governor of the central bank? By that, I'm asking you about your ratings for him.
I think he has shown professional boldness in the sense that when we were having the turmoil about exchange rate volatility, he took very clear decisions, which were not strange decisions. They were actually extracted from our laws governing the Bank of Ghana and the foreign exchange market. Those that were not using the desired expectation, he boldly came out and withdrew them. So that is the character of his professional undertaking in the Bank of Ghana.
Okay.
But we also realized that he also brought some development in the banking sector. Since 2007 up to now, we have been experiencing growing non-performing loans in the banking sector. But he put his feet down and ensured that the regulatory measures that ought to be put in place in order to bring about discipline in credit policy management in the commercial bank and to bring about a total stability for the banking sector, that have been clearly put in place for the banking sector, and it is helping in financial intermediation in the country. He has put up a regime within which there is some kind of liquidity flow from the central bank to the commercial bank in the country. He has also put in place, a certain fund flowing from all the commercial banks in the country that will help in financing some strategic investment in the country. So these are things that he has done. But when we come to the microfinance sector, I cannot give the credit that others would like to give to Dr. Wampah when we come to the microfinance front.
You think he performed woefully in that area?
Well, he didn't meet the expectation of all of us, because I do understand that those who behave as entrepreneurs of evil in the financial market, they are always ahead of the regulator. If that is not the case, most of the financial market that we have in even advanced economy wouldn't have taken place. But what we are expecting that when they do happen, you should be proactive, you should react in a manner that protects the client and protects the entire system. So that was very slow in coming, and that was not the best.
Okay, thank you very much. John Gachi, chartered economist, talking to us about Dr. Wampah's stay in office. And, well, that will take us to our discussion. And I have to introduce my guest to you this evening. Of course, Sam George, who is taking his little Bible from Alex Aphenyo Markin. Sam George is actually the NDC parliamentary candidate for the Ningo Pram Pram constituency, and Alexander Aphenyo Markin is the MP for the Ifutu constituency. It's good to have both of you here with us. I'll start with you, Alex. And in the past when I've interviewed you, you've not been charitable with Dr. Wampah. Did you see his exit coming so soon? Especially during the period where the cedi was bleeding, hemorrhaging against the dollar so bad, and he introduced those forex rules, and you were not too pleased with the rules, and you were not charitable with him. Did you see, even at that time, you were campaigning that he should be fired, that he should go?
Anaba,
yes.
Good evening to you. It's a pleasure to be on your program. Why are you such a sharp person? Your memory is so apt, and you're able to quote me.
Yes, I don't forget.
Very well. I think I had issues with the Bank of Ghana as an institution. Of course, he being the head of the institution, obviously, when the axe falls, it's on him. But the question is, can we say that Bank of Ghana under his leadership has done so well in managing the fiscal policy of government? They have a constitutional mandate. Mm-hmm. Have they lived up to that constitutional responsibility? You recall he introduced, or the institution he headed, introduced this policy on exchange control. Mm-hmm. You don't have to spend so much dollar and all that. When that was introduced, first of all, typical of the NDC government distanced itself from that policy. That no, we don't know anything about it. And they called them into a meeting. Later, government endorsed the idea. And we know the meltdown in the economy as a result of the introduction of this regulation that don't spend dollar. If you want to even request, you want to spend some dollars, you have to make an application to your bank. You'll be given a limited. And it led to a lot of speculation. I don't think businessmen will forgive Bank of Ghana, and for that matter, Dr. Wampah, for that miscalculation. I'm not a student of economics, but I don't think that even me would come up with such a situation, because we know that the use of forex is dictated by the dynamics of the market. The variables are there, demand and supply. So when you want to consciously control and say that don't spend so much, and to them, to Bank of Ghana and to Dr. Wampah, that was a solution at controlling inflation. Is that not so? Mm-hmm. That was a solution at ensuring that the cedi was stable. But what
because
happened?
they had to be arrested.
Oh, they did arrest. They did arrest the continuous fall of the city. It didn't. Okay? So it was a cost 90 work. Ghanaian businesses suffered. And it came at a time that the Dumso was at its peak. Ghanaians were spending more money to, of course, get power. And then at the same time, they were now chasing for dollars. And we know that this economy, we virtually import everything. And businesses, traders needed the forex. And here we were, this man said, hey, you need to apply for you to go through all the difficulties before you go through it. And people resorted to the black market. The black market business boomed. And I don't know where they studied the economics anyway. I don't know. And I don't know who advised the governor. And I don't know how he came by that conclusion that we need to regulate that market. And I don't know why a vice president who himself was a former governor and the head of the economic management team could endorse that decision of Bank of Ghana. I don't know why. So this whole issue of Dr. Wampah, yes, in one breath, I take it that as a head of institution, he is responsible. But we cannot blame all the woes of this economy on him. He was working as a subset in a bigger set. We have Mr. President. We have his finance minister. We have the vice president, who himself is an economist, a former lecturer, a governor. All these people were there and were having the meltdown in the economy. So really, he as an individual, for maybe he didn't have what it takes to push his political masters. But I am disappointed he's resigned at this time. Last week, I felt that some people were not being fair to him, that his stepdaughter's husband had been arrested and people were trying to link him. I felt that some sections of the media, wasn't being fair. But be that as it may, this is Ghana, where people would want to interlink and connect you to the sins of somebody because of relationship and all that. I don't know why eventually he had to give in, but I'm not too sure also that he voluntarily wanted to exit.
You think he's being pushed?
Well, he has political masters. When the DKM thing came up, Mr. President, in delivering his message of the State of the Nation, pointed an accusing finger at the Bank of Ghana. They have the supervisory powers. Did they supervise well the microfinance companies, issuing license to them and all that? So at that point, I knew something was going to happen.
Okay.
Until eventually, perhaps he was advised that, look, gentlemen, the way things are going, we can't accommodate you any longer.
Okay.
But once again, this is a government of blame game. Okay, they prefer to sacrifice somebody than to take responsibility.
Well, we are not too sure if he's being sacrificed. The man himself says he's leaving.
Don't forget that a week ago, the man said he was staying on till August. Have you forgotten? Let's follow the trail.
Per that statement
he himself said.
Yeah, I remember that.
He was not going to resign. He was going to stay the course.
He spoke to Star FM.
Yes, Ali. Yeah. He was very emphatic.
Okay.
So why the sudden...
Sam George.
You turn.
I mean, I have to go back to a point he made a little while ago about the President's State of the Nation address and how he talked about the Bank of Ghana and its handling of the microfinance sector, especially with DKM. Could that be enough to say it was a vote of no confidence in the governor, hence his decision to probably leave now?
But let me say good evening to yourself and my brother, Alex.
Is this the staffer in the presidency?
He's an NDC
You only said he's a candidate.
I'm a presidential staffer.
Yeah, but you should have told Nanaba to add that one to your rank. That is your title.
Oh,
Takes nothing from him.
I'm not a stickler for title.
No. But you are there. You were presidential staffer.
It doesn't matter.
And when you speak, we hold you on to. You have to speak for the government.
Alex,
no, he's speaking
Alex,
for
you've
government.
you've had your
It's
chance.
just an introduction.
He's so worked out.
You know that we
I'm
want
even
to.
surprised.
They are sticklers for titles. They have
Not
a new
necessarily,
one.
but
Chief Mercenary Recruiting Officer.
That
CMRO.
Oh, that's not true.
That's not true.
No, it's one of their new titles.
It's enough.
It's all right.
You want us
Make
to go
your
for
point.
titles?
No,
please.
make your
I
point.
just want to be sure that we don't take anything away from you. And
Alex.
also to
Doesn't
hold,
take anything.
because you speak for government
Alex,
anyway.
you're not the host of the show.
Very well.
Yes.
None I take it. I didn't see him during the Easter though, so
Okay.
that's all right.
Okay.
I'm turning you on real bad.
That's okay.
Oh dear. Sam, just make your
Anyway.
point.
It's been a long time, Alex. Hope you're doing well.
By His grace.
Nice. Anyway, to our viewers, a very good evening. I mean, it is. I don't see anything out of the ordinary for Mr. Wampah to have declared, or Dr. Wampah to have declared that he was stepping down from the 1st of April. I mean, his term in office as central bank governor would officially lapse on the 5th of August this year. Let's not forget that he was nominated or appointed to that position after the untimely death of our late president, John Vazanta Mills, when the president chose the then governor, Pa Kwesi Bekwin Misata, as his running mate. And so, after deliberations and consultations, one of his deputies at the time, who was Dr. Wampah, stepped up and became governor. It is standard practice in the military and the police and public service that when people have served and they're coming to the expiration of the term of office, they take their accumulated leave. It's a standard practice. And so if he's retiring, 4 months before his official resignation date, every year, every civil servant retirement date. Yeah, sorry. Every year, everybody's due about 36 working days, which is actually more than a month. And so, if you're going to look at the 4 years accumulated, you realize that it's even in excess of 4 months. And so, if he's choosing to take his accumulated leave and proceed on an early retirement, I really don't see what is so exciting about it. However, this is not just any ordinary public servant retiring. This is the governor of our central bank. This is a man who's been tasked with managing the macroeconomic indicators and stability of our economy. And so definitely one will want to see in an election year, 7 months to an election or 8 months to an election, does this create any shocks for the market? Well, the early indicators are that no, it doesn't create any shocks for the indicators. And that in itself should inform, in my humble opinion, what our focus should be on. It should be on who becomes his successor. That is the person whose appointment will most likely create
and I hear there's a lot of lobbying going on.
Well, that's to be expected. That is what will possibly create a positive or a negative shock on the market, because it is extremely important, not just the technical knowledge or the repertoire, the CV of the person, but even the personality of who it is who replaces him, because you want to see your markets react whenever your central bank governor speaks. You want to see them react positively. And so those are some of the things we'll be looking out for. And for me, that is what my interest is. I'm keenly following developments to see who would possibly. I know that in the interim, it's possible that one of the two deputies, either Mr. Millicent Na or Dr. Abdul Nashiru Ishahaku, will be stepping up to act as interim central bank governor. I think both of them are fantastic economist who would fit the bill any day, any time.
Or maybe it's time for a female governor for the first time.
Well, that again is not out of the question. And so, I mean, the president has that unenviable task.
Why? You smiled when I said maybe it's time for a woman to take.
No, but I've not invited.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry.
The president has that unenviable task of.
Maybe you would want to consider the deputy finance minister.
Mona.
Yeah.
you know, she's been.
No, but you
discussed
and
on
Alex
certain
are
platforms.
heckling me now.
We are not heckling you. We
You
are
are the
having
host
a,
of the show, but you are interjecting me.
No, we're having a conversation.
Maybe you would
Yeah,
want
everything
to put
about
an
the
end
women, I'm biased towards that. Okay, Sam, let's go.
Alex.
Maybe Monacote. Maybe Monacote.
You don't do this. When you do this, you are not helping her. Anyway.
She mentioned woman.
Oh, Alex.
And I looked round and
Alex, why?
Oh, the cap was just fitting.
Anyway. Coming to the mixed reviews of the term of Dr. Wampah, I think that is to be expected. He came in at a time when the global markets, in fact, the global economic sphere was in turmoil. And so anybody at all, even if we had an Alan Greenspan coming as our central bank governor, he would have had some challenges. Bearing in mind that at the time he took over office, that was the time the global markets were having a double-dip recession. That was the same time that our main revenue earners, forex earners, were having a dip in world market prices, gold, cocoa, bauxite. The prices were dropping. He's had to face the challenges from day one.
Did he handle it properly?
Well, I think the jury's still out on that. I think that depending on who you speak to, you have varied opinions from the fact that, yes, he stood his ground. He showed that he was a man of metal. And when he made up his mind...
introducing policies that some described as draconian?
Well, at certain points in times, it's been necessary to introduce what you may term as draconian.
But it didn't result in anything positive.
If it fixes the problems.
Did it fix the problem, though?
I mean, for me, what I would look at is the fact that I think he's living... It will not be so easy for me to say he's living on a high, but I also won't say he's living on a low because it's a mixed bag. When you look at the prevailing... And I'm saying this mindful of the pain that people who've been victims of the microfinance debacle in the Brong-Ahafo region are going through currently, which I agree with His Excellency the President was as a result of poor management from the central bank. But then you also want to look at the flip side of the coin, where you realize that for the first time in several years, in over a decade, the city has remained stable in the first quarter.
At a very high rate?
No. I mean, Abba, the bottom line...
3.8?
Abba, no. I mean, if you look, over the last 16 years, every first quarter, our city loses a minimum of 7 to 8% of its value because of the demand for forex. For the first time in 16 years, our city is actually appreciated by 2% in the first quarter. It actually appreciated by 2%. And so that tells you that he may not have gotten everything right. And I mean, he's human. Given the challenges he had to face, it will be difficult to expect, or it will be unreal to expect him to have gotten everything right. But I think that it won't also be fair to him to say he didn't get it right. I've listened to many of the people who've spoken, from Franklin Kujo to Honorable Akotose to Honorable Mark Osayasibe and all. And Esibe Yeboah, thank you. And at times I'm finding it difficult to see the coherence in the discussion and description of the man. In one vein, you hear Honorable Akotose say that he had bad blood with the former governor who is now vice president. In another breath, you hear people say that he was too subservient. Those are parallels. I mean, if somebody was subservient, it means anybody at all would have had his way with him. Okay, but then in another breath, they are saying he was at loggerheads with his boss over policy decisions. So if someone is supposed to be subservient and he's able to stand his own grounds, I don't get it. The bottom line here is this, and I'm glad that my colleague James Ejinin Boateng put a statement out to clarify that matter this afternoon, that there is absolutely no bad blood between the vice president and the outgoing governor of the Bank of Ghana. In fact, they had a cordial working relationship whilst the vice president was governor, and the vice president played a key role in endorsing the choice of him to replace him as governor. And so they have a fantastic working relationship. However, the job of a central bank governor is one that demands someone who has a certain steel within himself to be able to take the tough decisions in the face of the growing pressures. If you talk to the commercial banks, they'll tell you they've had a fantastic relationship with the central bank governor. many of the chief executives of our commercial banks will tell you that he's ensured that they have had a constant line of credit, constant supply of credit to the commercial banks to sustain them. He's helped them at times using very hard policy to ensure that the high levels of non-performing loans sitting on the books of these commercial banks have been reduced and brought to a manageable level. And so for me, I think that Dr. Wampah can go home knowing that he served his nation to the best of his abilities. And I think that we owe him our debt of gratitude for his time well served. For me, my focus and my interest remains on who comes in, because the mere announcement of the individual has the potential of giving a positive shock to the markets or a negative shock. And I don't envy His Excellency the President at this point in time.
Well, I don't think... You think it's going to be a difficult task for him to replace...
It's an election year. We're in the middle of an IMF program. He needs... And so that is where you have the argument that speaks for continuity. That says that, okay, let's have somebody who has been part of the processes of managing this IMF program, discussing it and knowing the details, someone who's been part of the process of managing us through one of our most trying periods economically, to continue and steer the ship in an election year.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Because I was listening to an economist who suggested, I can't remember his name, but from the University of Ghana, who suggested that... no, because I know what you say about him. It wasn't him, by the way. Who suggested that indeed we should probably get, not go for a permanent replacement,
an interim replacement till
the end of the year, and then because we don't know where the pendulum will swing.
Well, I mean that could be one of the, I don't think that a political pendulum should determine who the governor should be. I mean, the bottom line is that, I mean, we're trying to build institutions anyway, and the central bank should be able to is apolitical and should be able to transcend the positioning. And another thing I fail to mention is the fact that the governor has been able to work with the IMF to drop the percentage of government debt that the central bank has had to stomach. We're actually getting to a position where, for this year, the target is that there will be 0% from the Central Bank of Ghana.
Zero?
Yes. We've dropped from 10% to the last time it was about 4%, and we're looking to go to 0%. You get me? And so that's where Dr. Wampah has worked on, and that's why for me, I would stick for, anyway, my opinion counts for nothing, in all of this, but my personal opinion here would be that we should stick with continuity, which will give us some level of stability, and these are people who've already interfaced with the market. The market knows their capacity. It's easier to work with them than to bring in somebody from outside. Well, that again is my uninformed economic position.
You see, some George speaks for the government. He knows that the decision to be made in the next few days is most critical. Now he gives a lead, likely telling the market what the government is likely to do. Then he's quick to add in a caveat or to issue a disclaimer that it's my personal opinion. There is no way you can come and sit on a program and say that this is my personal opinion. It can never be your personal opinion.
What are you talking about?
Because you are talking about.
So everything you have said here, everything you have said here, does it represent the views of the people of Ifutu? I'm asking you.
Okay, can I finish?
No, I'm asking you. Answer.
Okay,
I want to understand your logic.
Okay, well,
yes, so I'll finish my question. Please answer.
You are representing the government.
You haven't answered my
question. The government has a duty to the people of Ghana.
You are playing verbal gymnastics.
Now,
you're not answering my question.
If government has a duty to the people, and you are here representing government, and you are suggesting that you think that it will be better to look out for continuity instead of perhaps looking for something new. I'm trying to say that you're suggesting. You're suggesting.
I'm not a member of the economic management team of
Absolutely.
government.
That's what I was going to say. He doesn't even know the decision the president is going to make.
Absolutely not.
He doesn't know who the president is going to appoint.
I mean, this mischief is below you.
So when he says his opinion, he's only giving a thought.
I'm entitled to an opinion, irrespective of whatever my job title is.
Okay.
There are matters. The communication minister is not a member of the economic management team.
No.
He speaks for government. There is no way.
He's not a communications minister.
Oh, but he's a member of the communication team. He is.
So he has no opinion.
So I don't have an opinion.
You could reserve your opinion on other matters. not on a matter like this. But look, I just needed to point out to him that
that on this particular matter, he has no opinion.
if he wants us, if he wants to give us a lead, if he wants to give us a lead on what government intends doing, that's fine. The market has noted it.
I have the metal and the balls to stick my neck out if I want to give a lead. If I'm stating my personal opinion, I will tell you it's my personal opinion.
Okay.
And you accept it.
Let's
opinion.
make progress now.
I'm not giving no lead.
Now, what Ghanaians want is to have a stable economy. Ghanaians do not want to
We don't have that
visit.
now.
Oh, do we really have a stable economy?
I'm asking you.
That government would have
He says
to go.
we have a stable economy.
Well, that is to him.
And you think we don't?
Oh, after all that we've been through, some of these temporal, you go for policy credibility, you need IMF to come in to stabilize your economy, to dictate to you what you should do. You stabilize the macro variables, and then in reality, businesses are suffering, and you think that is a stable economy. Go to Kantamanto. Okay? Go to Nima.
What is happening there?
Of course, that is a trading center. Those are you find the realities there. That you see whether or not the economy is stable, whether prices are fairly stable. There you see the reality, and not your 3.8 and 3.9 and
Prices go up all the time.
Well, so I'm suggesting.
It doesn't matter which year it is.
Oh, it doesn't really matter. But management of the economy play a role.
Okay.
So if you are managing the economy badly, and there's always some speculation running, obviously, you don't expect that in real terms.
Who are you expecting? What kind of personality are you expecting to succeed, Dr. Wampah?
Nanaba, I've made my point. We need a competent hand to manage affairs at Bank of Ghana. The most important thing is that that person would not be working there alone. He works with a team. That team is the economic management team of government. So to me, if there is any failing at the Bank of Ghana, it wouldn't be the responsibility of one person. You cannot put all on the head of one person. But it is expected that Mr. President would nominate somebody who would be competent enough to restore the image of Bank of Ghana. Because when it comes to DKM and those other microfinance firms and the economic harm they've caused the people of Bro and Hafu and other Ghanaians who invested in these businesses, government has not really taken any step to compensate them. And it has been the blame
Government should compensate them.
Oh, I'm saying government has not really taken any step.
But should they compensate them?
But if the government, through Mr. President, has admitted that Bank of Ghana failed to supervise properly, what next step are you supposed to take? If the system that is supposed to protect the ordinary person has failed to protect, responsibility to protect is not only limited to security. You are talking about economic security. If you put somebody there to manage affairs, to supervise, to protect the ordinary Ghanaian and his business, and that person fails, who takes responsibility? Should they go to bed and say, oh, well, there's nothing to be given us and all that? When Bank of Ghana even issued notices out that they were revoking their licenses, do you know that they failed to inform FIC to direct the commercial banks to freeze their assets?
Okay.
They did not even do that as a first step. They did not.
So.
Okay?
Okay.
So I am saying that we've had a complete failure. And that failure cannot be at the doorstep of Bank of Ghana alone.
You think largely is this administration that
we
has
have a
failed.
government, unless they want to continue with the blame game. Blame game. It's not
They
us.
haven't blamed,
it's somebody.
They haven't blamed anybody.
The president blamed Bank of Ghana.
Because
And he
it
has
falls
confirmed it.
directly under the Bank of Ghana and
Very
the regulator for that sector.
Very well. The regulator has no supervisor. Is that what we are being told? The Bank of Ghana governor, although he's independent,
It's
does
autonomous.
it not? Well, in real terms, it is not. Because you have the finance minister who has some oversight responsibility. Okay? The Bank of Ghana governor reports to the president. He advises Mr. President. So if all these times we are saying that the Bank of Ghana was independent, autonomous, and could not on its own supervise properly, then Dr. Wampah should have resigned at the time that these DKM issues came up.
All right, let me take
now
some
we have been
messages.
told that it's just he's taking his accumulated leave.
Well,
really? Accumulated leave.
Which makes sense.
Oh,
If
but
he's retiring in
that is the
August-
rationalization.
No, but it makes sense, doesn't it?
No, but he's rationalizing. But the man himself never said so. The man never said in the statement he issued, he never said he was taking his accumulated leave.
Okay, Ahmedo Ghana says that we need a competent man to manage. Ahmedo, I think you're wrong. It should be we need a competent man or woman to manage the Bank of Ghana. Sam George, why?
Nothing.
You didn't comment on my earlier submission.
Well, I
If
think that
it's-
it rests in
it's
the bosom
time.
of His Excellency.
Yeah, but I mean, that is why we have lobbyists. Maybe you can
You're
start
lobbying
lobbying. Yeah, I mean, it will be so beautiful.
You want to get me as a feminist lobbyist?
Why not? I mean, what is so beautiful than that?
No problem. I mean, I don't mind. Alex,
Okay.
would you join me to lobby for feminists?
Alex is for women. Alex, no?
I'll go for competence.
Yeah, of course. A competent woman, of course. A competent woman. We're not asking for anything else.
You want us to open a whole new debate on this matter?
I think it will be very lovely. I mean, it will be a very good one for the president if he should choose a woman as governor.
A competent woman.
A competent, but of course it's not just any. Why aren't you saying competent man? You're saying whoever. Why didn't you add competent to the man? So a woman definitely will be competent. The president will not just put anybody there. It would be nice to have a woman, a first female governor of this country. Okay. Theo Taino says, why are you both quiet? I thought you'd be supporting me on this.
You have my support for competent
Alex,
woman.
do I have your support?
On
For
what?
a competent woman.
I accept an invitation for
Be careful what you say. Choose your words.
a competent
nicely.
Ghanaian.
Okay.
I
Whatever.
decline an invitation.
You decline which individual?
I decline an invitation that may suggest that the door will be closed on one
One
person and it will be open for another. In this case,
I don't even
you want to
that.
close it on men. That's what you want to
But
do.
it's always been men, anyway. So why not
But
consider a
don't we
woman this
have-
time? We have competent women.
I will
who can
comfortably just take
over.
a sip of water and
Please.
then watch both of you do this.
We have competent women who can occupy that office. I'm
Yes, I
telling
agree
you.
with you. I agree with you. I support you.
Okay, you're only saying that because you want me to keep quiet and move on.
I don't want trouble from you, Nanaba. So I support this, your advocate. What's the hashtag?
Female governor. Hashtag. Mr. President.
Well, carry her message.
All right,
Deliver
here
to
Taino says, donation of mass set to school to students is a good concept from the government. I see no politics attached. Dr. Wampah failure was due to the DKM saga, and he did himself no justice by not retiring early. We can say, that he's living on a low, if not on a very low. Well, there's this other message. Well, it's a question to Sam George. I think some you've been mentioning there. You can check it out on Twitter. Ahmedo Ghana comes back to say, I think what we should be focusing on is the next person who will succeed Dr. Wampah. Peter Bonko says, this Mahama administration will kill us all. Mathematical sets for campaign. You saw those.
Oh, I hope
Dr.
to do
Wampah.
some very soon. I'm sure he too will do some.
Okamfo Kastu says, Dr. Wampah is going through a lot of emotions now. He should be left alone to reflect. This is NDC for you. Dr. Wampah is infamously known as the governor who failed at the Bank of Ghana. Next to him And next to his failure is Mr. Seth Tekpe. Why do you put that in quote? For his bad economic policies. Well, I'm not sure about that one, but that's according to you. Sniper says Dr. Wampah didn't do well at the Bank of Ghana. Samuel Klokwesi Nanaba, I hope once again my man Afenyo Markin will be on top of the game. He's a nice gentleman who will do justice to every issue. Nambi Patrick, Dr. Wampah's resignation is a prank because April Fool is just around the corner. This is no April Fool. James Addison says, I agree with Sam George when he says continuity is key. I think that the president should not appoint a permanent governor, but we should see what happens after the elections. No amount of subliminal campaign by the NDC to final year SHS students is going to change their mind. They will vote the NDC out. Well, there are more messages from you on this topic. We're going to talk about the EC. But before we talk about the EC, we're taking a break. We'll come back. The two of them, I'm sure, are itching to talk about the deported South Africans. We'll talk briefly about that, and then we'll discuss the EC. Do stay with us.
This is former President J.J. Rawlings, and you're watching State of Affairs on GH1.
I don't know his reasons for retiring earlier. So in any sector or any, how do you call it, organization, there is a deputy, definitely, or somebody acting. So that person acting is supposed to hold the fort till somebody is employed to take over. When he was there, there was somebody, and the person left, and he also came. So definitely there should be somebody replacing.
If the governor says he wants to retire earlier, he should give a specific reason. Is it because of his reputation at stake, or psychologically you feel that what has happened in his family, right, is a stigma to his reputation as a governor of Bank of Ghana?
Yeah, he's supposed to go because Ghana, we are suffering. And more or less, as he came in over there, there's a whole lot of mess around. Early retirement, I don't think is something most important. He chooses when to go anyway. As for early retirement, it's okay. But he's going, where is our money?
Has it been in a report that he has embezzled something or misappropriation of money somewhere? He's ahead. Obviously, there must be somebody, understudying him or assistant or something like that. So if he's away, that person will just take over.
I think he should go because the economy is not doing too well. His measures he put in place to keep the free fall of the slithering work, and the issue with the microfinance too also did not work. So I think he should go.
All right, so let's move on now to other topics. Sam George, you're the one who was dancing to that topic about the deported South Africans, and I'm not sure why you still want to talk about it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why I still want to talk about? I think that there's a real and present threat that our security services still need to look at. I think that the deportation doesn't just end the matter there. You ask me why, and I say to you that for me, yes, you can look at Section 186 of 186 or 189, 186 of the criminal code and all of those things, and the fact that they didn't obtain the requisite permits to do what they were doing in the country and all of that, and the fact that it doesn't make logical sense for you to be teaching a photographer and drivers weapons handling and an armed combat and rapid response maneuvers. It just doesn't make sense. But then, that aside, for me, the main issue is, or the two main issues. First has to do with the STL angle. And the fact that STL is a company that is still, I believe, under a contractual agreement with our Electoral Commission. And then the fact that documents that profiled every staff of STL and didn't just end there, but went ahead to highlight the vulnerabilities of key staff, for me is a cause of worry. Because when you speak to anybody in the security sector, they will tell you that when profiling is done, and the profiling is done in such a way that you highlight the vulnerabilities, it means somebody is up to some serious damage somewhere. Looking at the NPP's relationship with STL in 2012, that had to take the intervention of General Olusegun Obasanjo, former president of the Republic of Nigeria, to save that company from being burnt down by Sami Wuku and his gang.
Sami Wuku and his gang wanted to burn it down.
Obviously, that was their intention. They were headed there. They said the people were intercepting results and they were going to destroy whatever capacities they had. How were they going to do it?
When they never said they were going to burn it down.
Maybe
I
they were
don't
going
think
to
the
bomb it.
interpretation was, Sam George, really?
If they were not going to burn it, maybe they were going to bomb it.
No, really.
How are they going to destroy the capacities of STL?
If they suspected...
They were going to disconnect the wires.
Sam George. Sam George, really. You need to stop this mischief.
No, but seriously.
Seriously, okay.
Yes, I mean, it took the intervention of General Obasanjo and the ECOWAS team to save STL from the mob that was mobilizing to go there. And you see that 4 years down the line, the same NPP has brought in a team. And you see what is even striking is the attempt by the NPP, no meaner person than the acting general secretary, the acting national chairman of the NPP, Freddie Wasimewu Blay. He held a press conference and made a categoric statement that that STL document was planted on the men by the BNI. However, one of the three, Lieutenant Colonel Hassis, claimed ownership of that document, claimed that he didn't alter it, but it was in his custody, and it was given to him by another Israeli based in South Africa, and that he's had that document for 3 weeks but has not read it. Tell that to the Marines. But you see, it highlights a certain sinister, Machiavellian, evil plot to cover up whatever intention the NPP has with STL. And so for me, the identity of the three men and the work they do, and when I look at, and I have been a student of military insurgency on the African continent, and I remember companies, and see, they give us that excuse that it is a registered company that offers security. Abba, please tell our viewers about executive outcomes. If you don't know about executive outcomes, Google executive outcomes and read about executive outcomes. Executive outcomes was a registered protection company, just like this company that we're being told. Executive outcomes was responsible for most of the fighting in Sierra Leone during the civil war there. Executive outcomes was in Angola. They were in Mozambique. It is SA mercenaries like Nick Detroit who offered similar services to these three men.
So if indeed they are mercenaries...
It's similar services to these three men who tried to overthrow President Teodoro Obiang.
Why do you let them go?
Guinea.
Why do you let them go?
Oh.
If you have proof that they are mercenaries, why do you let them go?
We've handed them back in accordance with our laws, the Immigration Act. The Immigration Act says that if anybody breaches the terms of the visa by which they've entered, they have the right to deport them.
So why did you start all that process of taking them to court? Such a melodramatic moment, wasn't it?
There were two different things. Mm-hmm. You see, and that is where many people are trying to muddy and befuddle the issues. Look, the first case that went to court had nothing to do with their immigration status.
Absolutely,
it had
we know
everything to do with the illegal activity they were exercising in Ghana. Now, whilst that was running, the GIS commenced an investigation into their status in Ghana and determined, by virtue of their investigation, that their stay in Ghana was illegal.
Okay.
It revoked their visas and exercised the mandate they have under the Immigration Act to deport the 3 gentlemen.
Okay, let me come to
And
Alexa.
so for me, I mean, it's a very serious issue that our security services still need to look at, and we need to get to the bottom of it and understand what the full gamut of those 3 were here, bearing in mind that you have 200 SC mercenaries next door in Nigeria. 200.
Alex,
active fighting men.
Alex,
soldiers of fortune.
Your time to speak is now.
Rabba, I'm very much disappointed in the way this government handled this whole matter. The government has embarrassed itself and doesn't appear to know the extent of
NPP hasn't embarrassed itself?
I don't think so.
Thank God this
I
is
think
really
that
also.
the government has embarrassed itself, and unfortunately, it doesn't seem to know the extent of embarrassment. It has caused its own image internationally and politically. One.
Before you move on, when you say they have embarrassed themselves, and
internationally,
yes. And you don't think that the NPP has embarrassed itself, when these men got to Kotoka and indicated that they were going to be living at the Movenpick, and which at the hotel, Alisa Hotel,
yes,
in Accra, and they ended up at El Capitano in the central region. It is not an embarrassment to the NPP who invited these 3 police officers to Ghana?
Okay, another very valid question. First of all, you are relying on this statement to ask a question for me to give an answer to. But the question
Obviously.
hold on. The question is, have you seen the immigration arrival form that they filled?
No, I haven't seen it.
Please.
Have we been told otherwise?
No, please. Hold on. As a lawyer, as a student of law, at least we were taught, or we've been taught, that when you have in any litigation, you lay bare all the facts, make available document, that's what we call discoveries, for parties in litigation to have records and all that, okay? If government says that, oh, when we even checked, these people said they were going to stay at Movenpick and Alisa, make available a copy. Today, IT world, you could make it available, call journalists at a press conference and show them that, look, this is what.
So you think we are being lied to?
No,
is that what you're trying to impugn?
I am building.
I know you're building
I
a
am
point.
building
We don't
a
have
point.
too much time for you to build a whole house.
Very well. I want to let you know that this government has acted in bad faith. It has embarrassed itself internationally. It has embarrassed itself politically. And to your question, whether or not NPP, my party, hasn't embarrassed itself, I say, no, my party has not embarrassed itself.
You're a lawyer.
And I will explain to you why.
Did you flout any law by bringing these 3 here?
Nanaba, with the greatest respect, if I have 3 questions at the same time,
well, you are circling.
I'm not circling because I was on a point.
You've never done under cross-examination, thrown 3 questions on a trot. Would you be honest enough to tell us you haven't done anything of that sort? Or because the questions are hitting you so hard, you have no answer?
Alex is my friend. Alex.
Well, I've not been told
Alex,
for the time being.
Alex, please.
For the time being, I've not been told that I'm under cross-examination. But
we're having a nice.
But even if I'm under cross-examination, I come under the protection of the honorable judge, who would allow me to answer 1 question at a time.
So proceed.
Before council.
Proceed and answer the 3 questions
I'm
sequentially.
sorry.
The point is, government has embarrassed itself. Okay. And I say so because government has thrown out so much by way of information without any supporting evidence. In one breath, government has succeeded in getting you to believe that indeed the people, these 3 South Africans said, they were going to live at Aliza and another hotel without giving you the document, the immigration arrival form that they filled. So government has misled you and other Ghanaians into believing that indeed the people came in with a different intention and filled the form differently. My brother here, he says that, look, these guys have some other motives. Which other motives? If indeed the NDC government that I know and the NDC party that I know, they have all that it takes to prosecute these people, to embarrass MPP, they will do so. But because they felt so embarrassed, they've arrested them, they go to court. The judge looks at the facts and grants them bail. Surety, one surety each. Deposit your passports. And they say, hey, if these guys go on bail, it means that they may speak out all that they've gone through and all that. So let's quickly whisk them away. And they do so. The next moment, they go and pick another law and say, oh, under the Immigration Act, they've also flouted the law. So we have revoked their visas. Really? Go and read Article 296 very well. Article 296 of the Constitution. Read it very well.
Okay.
Now, it tells you something.
Do you want to answer my third question now?
I have not finished.
Right.
When you have discretion, you ought to act reasonably,
Bring him an invoice
fairly.
for 1 hour.
I know.
Okay?
Right.
And then ensure that the views that you express in the exercise of such discretion is generally accepted by all and same is respected. These are citizens of another country. They have come here on the invitation of some other individuals. Forget about their political colors. They have said, according to you, they had some STL document and all that. Did you make that document available? By the way, you said in a statement...
The state should make those documents available.
Christ.
When
That's
the BNI
what-
is carrying out an investigation.
That's what he's suggesting.
Christ. Has the BNI issued a statement? Has the BNI issued a statement on this matter? You are here.
Hold on.
Please,
hold on,
let me
hold on.
finish.
The Minister for Interior is responsible for Homeland Security.
Please.
No.
Please,
Alex,
let me finish.
No,
let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish.
No, you can't mislead the public.
Let me
the
finish.
Minister
Look
for
at this
Interior
one.
is
Please, let
responsible
me
for
finish.
Homeland Security.
Let me finish.
He issues a statement
Let
and
me
you say
finish.
it doesn't cover the
Let
BNI.
me finish.
Is the BNI responsible for internal security or external security?
Can I finish?
No, answer my question.
No, can I finish?
You can't finish with misleading us.
The BNI hasn't issued a statement.
Has the Minister for Interior done so?
Sam George.
Simple question. Has the Minister for Interior done so? You are a learned fellow. You shouldn't mislead us.
Sam George, are you able to exercise some patience to enable me make my point?
I can't exercise patience in the face of deceit and misleading the public. Truly. You can't tell the public that the BNI hasn't spoken when the minister responsible for internal security has issued a statement. Is the BNI responsible for internal security or external security? We are talking about the BNI, the Bureau for National Intelligence.
By the way, Bureau for National
Investigation.
National investigation.
National investigation.
Are you done?
Yes. The
Okay,
BNI.
can I continue?
When the BNI is irresponsible, I'm asking
okay.
you. No, Abba, I'm asking a simple question because when he says the BNI hasn't spoken, I'm asking, what does he make of the Minister for Interior statement?
I'm sure he will address that.
He won't. He'll run away from it because he exposes his deceit.
Alex.
The Bureau of National Investigations has not issued a statement.
Are you expecting them to?
Nanaba, the two of you. Now for this evening,
don't
it appears that
accuse me of anything.
so I'm not accusing you,
Okay.
but I allow
The
him
two of
to
us
do
speak
all
the
that.
truth. You don't.
Never mind.
No,
Never mind.
Alex-
Never mind.
Alex is
Never
a very
mind.
genuine
Never mind.
Ask
Never
him
mind.
when was the last time he ever saw the BNI issue a statement?
Christ, is this gentleman
I'm asking
able
you,
to allow me?
have you seen the BNI
Christ.
issue a statement before? When under Nana Addo
Sam
Dankwa
George-
as Attorney General in 2001, Albert Lumumba Odinga was held for 7 months without charge. Did the BNI issue a statement?
Sam George.
What are we talking about?
Let him
I rest
make
my
his
case.
point.
Our viewers
Thank
will
you.
tell.
Thank you. Alex, can you land now?
Very well. No.
Oh, you're not ready
Can
to
I?
land.
If you don't land, you'll crash.
If you
You run out of fuel.
If you want me to
because I want you to learn quickly. And
because
answer
I'm making a
my
point,
third
and
question.
it appears that I'm unable to make my point.
Please make your point.
You know, I know how to heckle, you know. There are times that you don't want to. But if they introduce, that's fine. By the way, the BNI has not issued any statement telling us the outcome of their investigations. We are aware. He's asked me a very valid question.
So now he's landed on that one.
He's asked me a very valid question. What is that question? That the Minister of Interior has issued a statement. What does the statement say? We know in this country that when the police, although the Minister of Interior has supervisory jurisdiction, the police with the IGP, when there is any investigation, the police comes out with statement. Doesn't the police do that? I'm saying that the BNI, for the time being, has not come out with any statement. We've had the Minister of Interior coming out with a statement. That statement is self-serving, as far as I'm concerned. Why do I say it's self-serving?
The statement was actually silent on the South Africans. It was all about Captain Koda.
Nanaba, I'll get there.
The statement spoke about the South Africans.
Can I finish? Nanaba, you see,
it is good.
It is good, apart from we doing politics. People are watching who would want to appreciate the logic in the analysis we're making. I am saying that the Minister of Interior, who takes responsibility for the affairs of the BNI for the time being, per his statement, has issued a statement. To me, that statement is a bare statement and self-serving. Why do I say so? In one breath, you are talking about a caution statement. You see, I'm a criminal trial practitioner. So I know the procedure that, look, you as an investigator, you invite somebody or somebody is under arrest. You interrogate. That interrogation does not form part of the formal statement. After that, same must be reduced into writing, because somebody can say something and will not reduce same into writing. So you do your interrogation. Thereafter, you take the caution statement. Now, is the Minister of Interior suggesting to us that these men or the very person in question said that in his caution statement? If that is so, you want the public to believe that, oh, somebody has said something in a statement. Make available the caution statement. Make available the caution statement which the person gave. By the way, there was a person with his lawyer. When you arrested the person, was a person with his lawyer. So if you disjoint the facts,
I'll answer that question.
If you make statements of convenience, and then you come here and say that one of them, when arrested, had STL documents on him and saying all manner of things, you and I, Nanaba, for the purposes of interrogation, how are we able to confirm that?
So you...
No, Nanaba, I am asking a very valid question, very logical. This is a criminal matter. If you say somebody has been arrested by the BNI, it means that the offense perhaps is very grave. All right? You are saying that they are a threat to national security. I'm saying that if you come out to say that you found certain document on him, if you come out to say the person said this or that, with the greatest respect.
I get your point now.
Meanwhile, in spite of all these things, you go to court. The honorable judge looks at the fact and more or less dismisses your allegations. Then quickly you come under the umbrella of an immigration law to deport the people. Why?
Okay.
If you really have supporting facts, let the people remain in the country. After all, when they went, hold on with a moment. When the government went to court through the police, they asked that the people be remanded in custody.
Okay.
They should be remanded in custody because they are still investigating.
You've been speaking for more than 5 minutes. Can you answer my third question?
Very well.
In bringing these three South Africans to Ghana, when the NPP invited these three, did you flout any law? I mean, you're the lawyer here. You know the Constitution better. Did you?
You've asked a very important question.
Yes or no? No need to dance around.
Sam George, why? Actually, yeah, you need to answer it quickly because we don't have time.
Look at this young man. He dictates. No. He dictates to me, my junior. in age and everything. He dictates to me how I should answer my question.
Grandpa, sorry.
You see?
Grandpa, I'm sorry.
Look at this small boy. He dictates to me
Your grandpa, you there
how I should answer my question.
Your grandpa.
Look. And when it comes to Parliament, and I would help him small
Grandpa
as well too. He's telling me how.
Did you hear what he said?
When
When I
you
come
come
to
to-
Parliament,
he knows you win.
obviously,
Yeah.
you know. Let's proceed.
No, I wish him well though.
Yeah, you do.
We can disagree, but he's a very enterprising young man, and I wish him well.
Right.
Nanaba,
Yes.
I am unable to answer that question of in inviting these people to come and train the security men or the bodyguards of our VVIP personnel in our party. Whether we flouted any Ghanaian law or not. With Ghanaian law. With Ghanaian law.
I'm asking you, did you flout any law?
Nanaba. The government is out there that the people flouted NPP in inviting these people into the country.
It is not
Flouted.
government that has been saying it.
But who has said
Even
that?
people who sometimes speak in favor of the NPP have
Nanaba,
described
Nanaba,
that decision to bring these men as ridiculous
Nanaba, there's
and
a
in very
difference between
uncharitable
Nanaba, there's a difference
words.
between somebody disagreeing with an invitation, okay, extended to
But
a
I'm asking you a simple question.
Nanaba.
Alex, we don't have too much time.
Yes, of
I've
course,
got
but
only 6
you've
minutes
asked
ago.
the question as to whether or
And
not
you are
there any
circling,
law.
you are massaging your
How am I
answer.
massaging
You're being very
it?
economical.
But if we flouted the law,
He's done.
if we flouted the law,
Did you?
why didn't the government
Okay,
prosecute
did
them?
you?
He's done.
We didn't.
Okay. That is all.
If we did, the government would have
That's all I'm
prosecuted them.
looking for.
By the way, let's come back home. If we flouted the law,
Why aren't they
this government would have prosecuted them.
Okay, I agree.
That is why.
From George, you have 30 seconds, please. So I go for
it's
the next.
extremely interesting that in one instance, senior counsel, Uncle Afenyo, Grandpa Markin, is able to remind us of his criminal jurisprudence record as a criminal trial practitioner. But when you ask him the bare question, did the NPP flout the law?
I said no, they didn't.
He says that he is unable to state a position on that. That was his initial response.
That was your initial
Nanaba.
response.
Oh.
Nanaba, are you joining?
That is what you
Why
said
didn't the
earlier.
government? No,
We are
why
listening
didn't
to
the
you.
government?
We are
Why didn't the
That's what you
government?
said earlier.
But why didn't the government? Why didn't the government
Let's go for
subject
Ben
them to a
Epstein
criminal
now.
trial?
I'm
Let's
not
go for
done.
Ben Epstein.
I'm not done, crack. No, 20
Why
more
didn't the
seconds.
government-
20 more
Okay,
seconds.
Why didn't the government subject them to a
Okay,
criminal trial?
quickly.
You see,
Please, don't misquote me. The
That's what you
government.
said earlier.
Please. Why didn't the government try
Okay,
them?
okay.
Why
the
didn't the
issues-
government
the issues
try
of
them?
Let him make his
Why
point.
didn't the make it which
The
point?
issues of
He is
interest.
misleading us. He wanted him to make a point.
Remember what you said earlier.
Why
issues
didn't the
of
government?
interest.
Why didn't the
you
government?
know
try
one
them?
key issue of interest for me, which
Why-
has not even
why
been
was-
discussed
why-
yet,
why-
is actually
why-
the role of Captain Koda in all of this. When you know especially what his track record is.
What
And
is
for
his
me,
track record?
and that is why
What
Look,
is his
that
track
that
record?
politics
from-
of yours of
from-
going after personality.
I'm
is
not going
his
after
track
personality.
record?
No,
He
stop it.
responded-
I am
he
not going
responded
after
to
personality.
statement
That
from
thing,
the- from the interior
that
minister.
thing,
Let's
you
go
go
for Ben
on
Epstein
against
now.
person.
No.
You attack
Let us
personality. What do you
continue.
mean by his track record?
Ben Epstein,
What's
calm
that?
down.
What's his
Stop
attacking
that.
personality?
Stop that. Stop that.
Yeah.
We have
To wrap up.
about, this is 32 weeks more. We've done 8 weeks or 40 weeks when we started. You have 32 weeks more. We've had a lot of liquids. That is introduction to politics, certain terms for you to understand. We must start biting something. You know, I have some good friends who sell by the roadside. When I chat with them, I will see them eating some ice cream or yogurt. So, Uncle Ben haven't eaten. I said, oh, but aren't you taking yogurt? I mean, they haven't taken food with pepper. And I'm sure that you'll be wondering that when are we going to start Kayi Meko in elections and governance? Over to you. Ashanti and Volta regions are two political world banks of the two main parties, NDC and NPP. NPP's political warehouse is the Ashanti region, and that of the NDC is the Volta region. Now, I'm sure you are thinking that Ashanti region being the World Bank for the MPP is like hearsay. In elections, you don't do we see meneke dabi. You deal with numbers, and numbers that if you Google, you will find it. In 2012, the MPP got 70% of votes cast in Ashanti region. This 70% is more than 470,000 votes the party obtained in Brong-Ahafo, Northern, Upper East, and Upper West. Yes. Even the actual figure, the MPP, the votes it got in Ashanti region was 473,520 votes, more than all the votes that party got, the MPP got in Brong-Ahafo, Upper East, Upper West, and Northern region. In fact, the votes the MPP got in Ashanti region was about 29.2% of its total votes. Because of this strategic positioning, if there's a small problem in the MPP in the region, the votes will go down like the slope. In 2004, the MPP candidate Kufuor got 74.6. 2008 first round, it went down to 72.4. Now it's gone down to 70. And I'm sure you are thinking, how is it possible? I'm sure you watch Monday's one. You know that, I will repeat it, but if you watch Monday's one, you will see what you call apathy. And in case you've missed Monday or something, you can watch at 2 p.m. every Sunday. You have the omnibus. Now let's go.
All right, so that was Ben Efson with a countdown to the elections. And we have just, it's actually 8:30. We need to wrap up. So this is where I say thank you.
Oh, I thought you said you give 1 minute each.
1 minute each? It's 8:30. Okay, 30 seconds each. 30 seconds.
For me, the bottom line here is on this matter of the SA3, it is clear that my senior brother, my grandfather here, has engaged in verbal gymnastics. Because the bottom line is that the MPP flouted the laws. He knows it.
Which law?
Section 186 of our criminal code,
okay,
1960, is clear that you cannot engage in the activities they engaged in. And he knows it.
Alex,
they breached the Immigration Act
your 30
also.
seconds starts now.
Well, a non-performing government in its 8th year, knowing that defeats...
Which government? This one is in its 4th year.
Would want to
do
anything.
He spoke about government, not party.
Government.
I never said John Mahama. I said
this government is in its 4th year, not 8th year.
The NDC party,
it's in its 4th year, not 8th year.
Has been in power since 2009.
Now you are speaking of party, not government.
It's in its.
Why are you getting yourself confused? Government, party.
The government knows that defeat looms, so diversionary tactics. If indeed an opposition party, high-profile personalities in the opposition party, have invited people into the government, into the country, and your view is that same flouted laws of the land, the least a government would do to embarrass the opposition members would be to prosecute these people, get them convicted and sentenced to make a point. But because they acted in bad faith,
they are not like you people.
They quickly deported.
Okay, Alexander Markin,
please ask Grandpa. Don't disrespect him. He says he's older. We are small boys and girls.
He never said that.
He said it. Or is this small boy?
Alex Markin is member of parliament for Futu constituency. And he's on the show on Friday because he's appearing on Constituency Watch on Friday, Alex. See you on Friday. Okay.
I'll be available. You are coming to win, aren't you?
Yes.
I'll be there.
Okay, fantastic.
I hope the NDC candidate will make himself available.
Are you going to do it in Winneba?
No, we're doing it here. Yeah.
Okay, right here.
So he should make himself available.
Hey, you want the Naba to come to your constituency for the weekend? We are bad power.
Some Georges, is the NDC. I almost said member of parliament for Ningo Pram Pram.
You can say it.
Parliamentary candidates for Ningo Pram Pram. Thank you very much for your time. We'll see you same time next week. Coming up next on the screen, on your screen, is Nash Shoko with Tales from the Powder Room. Have a beautiful evening.